right, guys, welcome back. We're here with Jake DeMarco. Devious Dave Rose is here. We're talking about what's going on right now. I'm looking for more news on this because the bomber, they still haven't caught him. They don't know what's going on, really, because they're asking the public again, which is usually a key that they don't really exactly know what's happening.
They don't have many leads or clues. Today, a package believed to be bound for Austin exploded early Tuesday this morning. It was at a FedEx sorting facility an hour south of the city, and the expanding investigation into the bombings that have rattled the Texas Capitol this month led police to say that this is the work of a skilled bomber or bombers, plural. They have expressed concerns that whoever is responsible for the attacks have shifted tactics as well. Instead of leaving packages and as bombs outside of homes, they're now setting devices up with rigs with tripped wires. So this shows that they're even more sophisticated than the bomb squad and investigators first believed them to be. The explosion this morning happened while the device was on an automated conveyor belt in the sorting facility. And one employee said it caused ringing in her ears. No one else was wounded, but still, I mean, it's definitely a serial bomber, and it has people on high alert.
It's a very sophisticated situation. I don't think coordinated and sophisticated. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. We definitely haven't, other than the Unabomber. But he was he moved at in a sort of a slow, methodical pace. This is a lot happening at once. Very strange, and almost like a ghost right now. And they, if they never caught, it took so long for the Unabomber to get figured out. I mean, the only reason why you could think that this guy might be caught is because of just how much he's doing. He's so active that he might get himself caught based on his activity. Why is he moving so fast? Or are there multiple people? Are there 3 to 6 people? Are there 1 people? It really, I mean, this guy's like an advanced Boy Scout too. This isn't, Jimmy Joan buttfuck, doing this. This is somebody with some kind of
high level expertise, and the fact that he or she, the actual person responsible, was able to change their tactics on the fly. They went and they changed how the bomb was built. It went from needing to be open to now having a tripwire.
You said she.
Yeah, there's
right.
about. Well, I will. It's funny because I've heard everyone say that. I believe there's I don't know what the statistics are, but I would say
0.04% chance.
Yes,
I know it's
99% chance
low.
it's a male, but yeah.
Now you're talking my language, statistics.
Yeah, but they're confident that neither the facility nor the location in Shirts area was the target. The explosion, has now been linked to, the killing of 2 people, injuring 4 others. Not today, but so far with the 5 bombs that have been found. But police are really, really worried because they don't know that, since the bomber was able to change their tactics and how the bombs are triggered and built, what supplies were used so quickly. They're worried that there could be a multitude of bombs out there right now that just haven't either misfired or been identified. So.
I wonder if there's a room, like a house somewhere with like 30 of these things constructed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what it feels like. But anyway, that's the take we have. Dave has a probably more deeper take, and I definitely think that there is a chance that something weird is up here because it is very bizarre, very coordinated, strangely. But go ahead, Dave.
Now, one thing I just want to mention is the fact that there's been multiple bombings here, and 4 so far. Now, it's very questionable in regards to the way that the information has been released and where we start to see a trail when it comes to all these bombings. The police chief for this particular division here in Austin Police, Chief Brian Manley, said that 4 attacks in Austin appeared to be connected. Quote, clearly we are dealing with a serial bomber, end quote. Now, I find this very interesting because, as Joe did mention, the sophistication of this attack, multiple attacks, I should say, does sort of point towards the potential of multiple individuals being involved. Now, that's not to say that it just wasn't one random individual and potentially someone that might have had a grudge. But right now, there is no established pattern, and that's always very important with these sorts of things in regards to why this was done. The Unabomber, it was very clear, and there's been other individuals, even like the underground weather I can't remember what they were called. The Weather Underground in the 1970s was actually detonating bombs in the streets and killed a few people and such. And they were a very zealous environmental group. The Black Panthers were also connected to that. The KKK. There's been a lot of different groups that have been connected with detonating bombs, and they usually leave a sort of trail in regards to this. As of current time, right now, Tuesday at 4:30 in the afternoon, there's been no confirmation in regards to what the motive was in this situation, and perhaps any mandates or claims made by the supposed bomber. But before I hand it off back to Joe and Jake, all I want to say is the Vegas shooting took place October 1st, 2017. That's almost 5 months. We have yet to get an official explanation as to what happened. Right now, we're seeing a lot of distractions in the mainstream media in an attempt to try to keep people focused on things that aren't as important as to what's happening, more importantly, behind the scenes. So I think it's very important that we just realize that we're always being lied to, and it's a matter of trying to pick through the lies that are given to us to find the truth. So what do you guys think about my little rant?
The first thing is the Vegas thing is the most bizarre thing that's ever happened, because there is the least amount of information about the most people ever killed. That's the strangest thing to me and to everyone. That there is almost
no finalized reports, no further investigation has been released, nothing.
Very, very odd. And you know what I mean? And it to be like that guy who had the money and everything, this does a little bit remind you of that same sort of person. I'm not saying we don't know who this is. We don't know if it's a foreign attack, it's a domestic. It seems like a domestic attack. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's a distraction, someone working for the government, someone formerly who worked for the government. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about MK Ultra. But here's the other thing about this is weird, right? Listen to this. The police are begging this guy to come out, right? They're like, oh, please come out and, stop killing people, reveal yourself to us. I think I know they have to come out and do that maybe, but this isn't some moron, I don't think, that's going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, they want him to come reveal himself. It's just the Boston Bombers. They didn't want to reveal themselves. They came out there to drop those bombs at that racetrack, at the race, the Boston Marathon, do damage, and they were going to just go back to school like nothing happened. And then they were probably going to do it again. They didn't want to be caught.
They weren't seeking to claim fame. They just wanted to know, that they had caused chaos.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? And I don't know exactly what they wanted, but they didn't want to be caught yet then. And just like I don't think this guy wants to be caught right now either, it doesn't seem like. So coming out and doing that's probably not going to help. But yeah, as far as that goes, there's something weird about this for sure. But there was something weird about the Vegas situation right from the start. And again, we never got answers there. That's why there's so many conspiracies everywhere and people have all these different takes on it, because it's vague information.
Well, here's the thing, too. When you think about it, the perpetrator, Stephen Paddock, he is responsible, quote unquote, for killing 59, people, including himself. And then non-fatal injuries are totaled up to 851 at this point. 422 people hit and injured by gunfire. When you really let that sink in for a minute, there was a total of 851 people injured, 60 dead. Like that's
well, if that was the case, you would think there was a lot more news on it. Now, if there was the news on it and it wasn't covered, then why is that situation? If it wasn't that number and it wasn't covered for a reason, then why is that situation? We're being presented with things that we're expected to just overlook. Oh, well, there was a shooting at this school. Oh, there was, a bridge collapse. Oh, there was this bomb attack. But if we don't bother to actually look into the reasons why and what's connected there and what's happening geopolitically, then obviously we're not going to understand the full picture.
Exactly.
The bridge thing is crazy. There's a crack in the
information we got was January 19th. And this is when they had released a new report on the Las Vegas gunman. But even that was very, vague in terms of new information. They showed things such as images from inside his hotel room, his view. But what they said about the shooter himself is that he lived a seemingly normal life, all the same reports. And like you said, Dave, there's been a lot of distractions. Here's that key word, terrorism. That's what gets people, that's the point of terrorism, to strike fear and terror in the heart of, the citizens. And lo and behold, these bombings, it's domestic terrorism. As soon as people hear that word, they
well, hold on. How can you claim
up.
that immediately? How can you claim that it's domestic terrorism when we know for an absolute fact that there are thousands of ISIS cells located in the United States that are just waiting for their initiation to initiate these attacks? So how can we explain? And recently, for example, a Honduras man who was in the United States was found guilty of actually providing material support to ISIS members that wanted to cross over the Mexican border. Yeah. So the bigger question is, how can we immediately claim that this is domestic terrorism when it could be just infiltration of cells that have been allowed to exist here for quite some time?
Yeah, and it could be in the sense, too, that it might not even be full-on infiltration. It could be homegrown, as well. But I tend to lean more towards what you're thinking as well. There are cells, there are, a lot of people that have made their way from,
Quite frankly, it's amazing we haven't heard from more of them, to be honest. Not that I want it to happen, but I mean, it's kind of, it's pretty amazing that we haven't seen more of this stuff.
Well, actually, you make a good point, because Jake was just talking about this, is that those that are actually committed to their plan, they're not going to advertise. They're not looking to try to bring attention. And you do kind of see this a lot with these, what are clearly false flag attempts, where you have somebody that's portrayed as a white nationalist, or maybe perhaps a Indian, separatist. All these different individuals who are basically supposedly declaring their advocacy for a certain belief system, but when you look into the details of them, they've been involved with the military-industrial complex. They've been prescribed pharmaceutical drugs, which make them much more easily influenced in regards to what they're willing to say. So it just becomes too transparent how easy people are manipulated, and they become what's called a useful idiot. They're somebody that are willing to claim allegiance to a certain plan, and they might not, like, for example, somebody, and this has been proven, individuals who claim to be part of the KKK, who marched in some of these, freedom of speech marches, in the last couple of years, they're proven to actually be members of either the police or the military-industrial complex, and they're being paid, so they don't care. They're willing to act whatever position they're dictated to, so that they can sort of proceed and push a certain narrative that, a certain group of the population are bad individuals and need to be rounded up.
Yeah, they use these guys they use them basically.
But that's the thing, though. These individuals, they're part of the plan. They're more than willing to play their part. And this is what a lot of people discuss when it comes to the whole crisis actors. It's not that these things don't exist. It's that you have to decide whether or not they've been used to the extent that some people claim in certain what are referred to as false flag attacks. Yeah. So again, these ads, you can find them on the internet for people, and you can find the industries that run these things. The crisis actor industry exists. That's not an argument. The argument really is, how far are they actually utilized? Are they actually utilized in false flag attacks? Are they actually pretending to be injured from a certain bombing when in fact that never occurred? So it's more so really just up to anybody with a thinking mind to try to figure this out for themselves. But the evidence is there. It's up to you to make up your mind as to what you believe.
Yeah, and often one of the things that really perplexes me, and it's quite disturbing as well, is it's public knowledge. I mean, you can go on the FEMA site and see it, but it's well documented that the same day of these attacks, or the bombings, the shootings, things like that, however you want to label it, FEMA always happens to have a training exercise going on at the
That's
exact same
right.
time and location. I mean, Sandy Hook, the day of the shooting, they had a huge FEMA exercise talking about how would they handle a school shooting, in an elementary school.
And it's not just FEMA; it's a lot of different organizations that claim that they're going to have an exercise that day, and then coincidentally, an actual event takes place. They already have all the crew in place to address that, and if it is in fact a simulation, well, that they can go through all the motions and actually get trained for any future inevitability. So what you're saying is actually right on point, because every time these things seem to occur, inevitably you have an exercise happening at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave, I want to move real quick before we wrap it up here. I have one last thing I want to bring up. Because this is very interesting, and we used to talk about stuff like this, so I want to bring it up. They months back they released footage of a UFO from the Navy. It's released. It's not contested. They're just happy to release it all of a sudden, no problem. And a few weeks ago they released another one from a different year. I think one was.
I saw them both.
Okay, so there you go. You saw both of them. This really screams to me that they're getting ready, or at least setting up, for a soft disclosure over the next 30 years. Because they're not going to come out and just say, guess what? We know about aliens. But they are coming out and saying, guess what? We know about UFOs. And they're showing, they're offering the footage. It's the
first time that we've had a North American aviation group actually disclose that publicly. So it is quite a step forward in regards to disclosure. That's absolutely for sure.
And many people have come out, many of these ex-pilots, many of these people always come out and they say, like, we saw this, we chased that, it took a right angle, it traveled half a mile in an instant all of a sudden. It was stuff that we've never seen before, and blah, blah, blah. And, you watch some of these guys and a lot of people say, oh, they just want attention, or you can't quite fully believe it. But now we're starting to see actual videos from them come out. It's not a... it's not a doctored video. Someone didn't make it up. It wasn't one guy leaking something.
Yeah, this is directly from a U.S. Navy FA-18 Super Hornet, showing how they locked on to this, craft, this unidentified flying object. And you hear on the comms, wow, what is that? What is that thing? Oh, my gosh, dude, look at that flying. And then these are trained, of the highest elite pilots, and they're unable to maneuver and follow the way this craft does, so and then you get to see the full video evidence. Like you said, yeah, it definitely seems like they're setting up to.
But we also have to consider the possibility that maybe they're setting up for some sort of false flag. And again, I don't use that term loosely, and it has specific definitions, but there's something called Project Blue Beam.
Oh yeah,
that you can find. The information's all over the internet.
Didn't they shut that down, or they said they shut it down? They moved it.
That is something that has never stopped, and essentially they've been able to use the technology based in this, which is to be able to project a believable holograph. Right. Okay, a hologram. So now we're at the point where. No, Tupac appearing on stage, that's like peanuts. They have the ability to make this stuff appear in the sky. So let's say you put an image of Jesus in the sky saying, you're all to commit suicide, or you're all to do so-and-so. You'd be able to influence such a big portion of the population that you could have just about any control. And that is the whole purpose of Project Bluebeam. And it's not just me saying this. Look it up. It's all out there for you to learn.
Yeah, well, that's one of the ones that's been fairly discovered, and exposed. I mean, who knows what hasn't been exposed, and almost
exactly.
It almost feels like they have been so exposed that I'm sure I feel like they move stuff somewhere else. I mean, because then what happens is then it becomes a front. Then they use Project Bluebeam, becomes something said by everybody in conspiracy and all that other stuff, and then they become Project, L15, and we don't know what it is anymore.
Now what you're talking about is called Project Mockingbird, which was specifically to embed individuals in the media in an attempt to discredit any questioning of the official narrative. So what you're talking about is 100% on point, because once you start to question things of reality, you have another project willing to come in there and to try to make you question your natural born ability to think.
Right. And they undermine anyone's opinion because you're seen as a crazy conspiracy
and they shame
theory.
them. If you question anything, if you think differently, it's not about just, let's make this person feel questioned. It's about, let's make this person feel shamed.
Yeah, they ostracize them into oblivion at times.
That's the plan.
Well, dude, let's make
you
this
seem like you're totally crazy and inept and unhinged.
Make this whole thing come full circle, because now if you say something like this or you question something, you might be called fake news, and Facebook might censor what you said.
Exactly.
So it really all comes full circle into the beginning of our conversation earlier that some of it wasn't recorded. But there you go. You're censored now. You even question the idea of something existing, and you're perpetuating fake news, putting people in danger, or the people that work there in danger, whatever the hell it is.
And even worse is when you have to start censoring yourself, when you have to start limiting what you say to your own audience, despite the fact that your whole interest is just to educate your audience. That is when you've been forced into a corner. That's when social media has tried to force a specific dialect, a specific use of language onto you. And if you say a certain phrase, a certain word, you're banned, if not totally expunged from existence,
permanently,
on the online realm.
Just like,
and the thing is too, they want you to ask questions. Oh, they want you to formulate your own opinion. Well, so long as it's their opinion, you look at these incidents with the bombings, the UFOs, the mass shootings, and you ask anything that isn't presented as fact immediately, and then you get labeled as insensitive or just a simple theorist. They cast your insights off to the side. Simple things like Sandy Hook, when I had asked questions. Oh, well, don't you care about those children, those poor family, those victims? Yes, it's terrible, but I don't understand this or that. You mentioned things about Vegas. Well, all those people that died, how could you even say something like that?
Do you want to know why, though, Jake?
How could you not want to know more?
Let me step in from the other side. Here's one reason why I think people get defensive now because of that. Because I'm somebody who's kind of in the middle with all this. I think I always ask questions too, but I think there are so many conspiracy nutbags out there that every time there's a shooting, every time, and I can go look these people up on Facebook and anywhere else and I watch what they write. Every time there's a shooting or anything, it's always a conspiracy. It's always.
You're going to blame these individuals for questioning the official narrative when neither the government nor the media nor society has ever exclaimed that they were more interested in the truth than they were perhaps people's feelings. We can't blame people for being skeptical. In fact, when people maybe even go off the rails and think, totally ludicrous ideas, we can't blame them. Why?
No, I don't blame them.
Because we have no reason to trust anybody else.
No, I know that, but I think that it's weird just every time something happens for someone to say, well, it's another false flag and they're all actors. Single time.
Because CNN and Fox and all these other mainstream channels have basically made everyone already question reality.
I agree.
Because they've already proven to be full liars and willing to post whatever they want just to get the clicks.
No, I 100% agree with that. I mean, I think that it's funny. Anybody who's more left-wing out there, or anybody who's out there who doesn't like people who question things and think people are insensitive, you're the side that created it. You actually created this monster by lying in the first place, especially CNN. Yeah. CNN has created this issue because they couldn't get news right. They've been proven to be liars. And so now people doubt everything that they say.
But
everything.
CNN is just the best example, because Fox is still guilty of that. CBS, ABC,
they all are,
even Canada, CBC, like they're all guilty of basically trying to push, if it bleeds, it leads. That's the whole idea when it comes to the media, is that they're not interested really in a good story or anything that might be able to educate people. They just want to aggravate people. They want to
as long as it's scintillating. It's drama. You know, they want to push that view. Absolutely.
But
they want to get as much eyes on them, but again, as possible.
I'm sitting back. I'm not happy when I'm lied to by these news outlets, or when I see them and I see that they're lying or they're not giving me the right info. I get that. I'm upset too. But I also, as a person who's sitting on the outside just trying to observe and get things right, I'm also aggravated that I do see people attacking everything as it's a false flag.
It's okay to question things, is what I think you're trying to get at, but don't think that everything's immediately fake right off the bat.
To me, it's just not
possible. You get the people that are flat earthers.
No, you know what? In this climate, I would rather associate with someone who questions everything than those who question nothing.
No, you should question everything. I agree with that. That's always a motto.
Question, not assume.
Right. Question everything, but to go on Facebook right away, almost everybody, right away, with also no evidence really, and to claim it absolutely is a false flag, there's actors that are there, and that's at the beginning of things happening. There's still people to this day saying David Hogg is in the yearbook in California. He's not.
Yeah.
There's still people they said that right away.
Bit of,
the information I've seen shows that he is basically 1995 graduate of that school.
What I saw was photoshopped.
Got me, a while ago, and this is something that's less controversial. Was that boy that was getting bullied, right? You remember, and the mom took the video of him, and then it came out, oh, well, he's a racist, and the mother just wants money, and everybody started to bully this child worse than ever before.
Yeah.
And it even came out after the fact that it wasn't the mother that asked for money. She had no PayPal, like GoFundMe account or PayPal set up.
It was somebody else.
It was somebody else trying to benefit off of them.
By the way, she should sue the hell out of them because
she should have.
Everything that happened.
Should. And the boy never got in trouble. He never once said any racial slur, nothing like that. That was a straight lie. And he was being bullied in school. The officials admitted it after the fact. So really, he was just a child getting bullied. The mother was tired of it. Nothing was being done. She took a video. And all this false information and all this, reverse outcry, everybody got behind him at first, and then the misinformation came out. Now people still talk about, oh, you mean that racist kid or the mother that just wanted money? And
he's tarnished. He went from sympathetic character to being a villain to being tarnished. That's what it is.
From victim to villain overnight, and really, guess what? He was being bullied. Now he's being bullied even more so. Still to this day, he gets attacked, and he did nothing wrong.
But Dave, and here's the thing too. Like, what if? Here's the thing I don't agree with is like attacking these kids and stuff like that. That were at the school when this happened. It's like, why are we attacking them? We don't know. You don't 100% know yet. There is something fishy. For all we know, there are actors there, maybe. But every single time, why do we attack these kids who were involved in an incident? Again,
ask CNN, because they actually tweeted a individual who was in the school during the shooting, who had basically stated on their Twitter account, we're taking cover. There's a shooter in the school. And then CNN contacts them and asks them if they want their
can you call in?
If they'd be willing to share their information with CNN during the school shooting.
Yeah, they did that.
The problem isn't the students. It's this media that's so salivating for the most bloodthirsty stories.
But those kids are being attacked though. They're being attacked by people who think that they're like, you're a fake actor, scumbag, and you're like, I was just in a school shooting. I mean,
no, David Hogg is an actor. He is absolutely a crisis actor. He's working with his dad, who's FBI. And despite the fact that people might say, oh, well, he was just, there with the school and stuff, it's been proven.
How can you prove that, though? I want you to prove that to me, though.
What?
I want someone to prove to me that he's an actor. Because
we can't do this here on the show, but I can provide you with the information that he graduated well prior to this event occurring, that there was many individuals who basically came out and said, no, he's not a current student. Like, he graduated a while ago.
So, but his name was
that the way that he's been posting himself on social media and on the news, trying to take his 15 minutes of fame, his supposed, 15 dead classmates died suffering. It's either very disingenuous of him, or it's absolutely calculated as somebody who's attempting to try to direct the narrative.
But again,
you
said 1995
about gun confiscation when it's not even his fucking opinion.
But did you say 1995? He graduated 1995 in California.
Sorry, 2015.
Okay.
My bad.
But now, but hasn't that yearbook been? Wasn't that a fake? If you look up the yearbook of Redondo Shore. In
people
California?
had pulled out the yearbook and
To
showed
be
that it
honest,
wasn't in there.
everything that I've looked into in regards to this individual points to the fact that he graduated in 2015.
But can I just? But can I tell you that all the photos of this, there are no photos of the real yearbook. You know what I mean? There, and I'm seeing the photos of the Florida yearbook.
Where are you getting this information? Because again, I've seen multiple different sources that show the exact same yearbook in different photographs and basically prove, to me at least, that this guy actually graduated in 2015. So maybe you're seeing information that I haven't.
Well,
but
I'm just saying that there's a lot of, and I'm not doubting that there's something fishy. But why would a guy whose father works for the FBI take a vacation to California? Something went down there news-wise. He started videotaping it, and then the news wanted the video. They interviewed him, and his name was David Hogg. Why would he not change his name?
Well, specifically because he actually indicated that he would love to be an actor and that he would love to be part of CNN.
Well, he was in. So because he was, but think about this, right? Because you and me, because me and you like facts. We like innocent until proven guilty. He's a drama student. His dad works for the FBI. He wants to be a journalist his whole life, so it makes sense that he pulled out a camera when something happened.
An actor or journalist. Right. Now, that's concerning to me because...
I wanted to be an actor or journalist.
But that's the thing, though. A journalist is someone who searches for the truth. An actor is willing to play any role that you want. My question is, why would any
still want to be in front of a camera?
The only thing I think, to me, after seeing everything, the only thing I think he's guilty of is sort of using this situation to benefit his career that he's always wanted anyway. That's the only thing that I've found... fishy about the kid.
On the surface, that totally applies because it's clearly evident that with all the different takes that he did with CNN where he was trying to get his lines right, that he wanted to appear confident, that he wanted to appear knowledgeable in the topic that he was discussing.
Right.
Okay. I'll give you that. Okay. So that's the first level. But going deeper, when you have situations like Project Mockingbird, where you have individuals in the media or any related sort of government institution that they're willing to be involved with this, and we've seen this with other cases, there's nothing to negate the possibility that David Hogg was actually working on orders from his father to basically sort of hijack this narrative and change it towards gun confiscation, which was exactly what he did. It wasn't like, again, we just had a shooting.
I get what you're saying. I agree with you.
Today at this school.
Yeah, is that a false flag?
Mills.
Is that a false flag today? Because there was a shooting today. How come no one says that's a false flag?
Maryland school shooting today.
But notice the right. Notice the right isn't saying it's a false flag because a security officer shot at the guy and stopped it. So this isn't a false flag.
Well, no, hold on. First of all, you need to define who you say is right. Second of all, I've seen a ton of fucking tweets already on social media. They're basically saying, hey, leftists, look at this. Somebody with a gun actually stopped the gun crime.
Well, now they don't know if the officer was responsible for ending the shooter's life or if the shooter committed suicide.
But that's the thing, though. The shooter, knowing that it wasn't a gun-free zone, where somebody was going to come at him with a firearm, decided, you know what's better for me, my cowardice piece of shit ass, is to blow my head off, because if this guy fucking catches me, he's not going to kill me, he's going to injure me, and then I'm going to have to face trial where I'm going to have to go against people and face my accusers for months on end until I'm executed for this horrific crime. So cowards like that would always try to kill themselves when they realize that they've got no way to win. And that's, again, something that I don't like the whole idea of teachers having guns. But in this situation, it clearly shows that staff with access to firearms were able to stop a
there's different.
This was a badass.
What the left tries to tell us of, oh, well, you can't have any guns. I don't like the idea, but guess what? We have proof right here that a staff member was able to stop this.
No, this guy, this is a SWAT team member who...
No, he was an SRO, a student resource officer.
No, but
he was a resource officer.
But the police officer today that gave the speech about who this man is said he was a trained individual who was part of the SWAT team. So he was working there. He's a former SWAT team member. This guy was a badass.
A former SWAT team officer. It doesn't matter because this sort of training, once you take this training, it sticks with you.
I know, but I'm saying that this guy was a badass.
Despite the fact that he is now just working in a school, his training was what saved the lives of all these students. I mean, we can't just say, "Oh, he was part of the SWAT team." He's there.
No, he was assigned there by the by the police department.
But there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that actually should be promoted.
No, but Dave, I love that.
We have trained individuals.
But what I'm
on,
saying is,
site.
This wasn't Mrs. Jones's English class teacher with the gun. This was an actual guy who is a trained police officer. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. He's like a badass.
Well, but that goes towards what I was saying, is that despite the fact that I don't like the idea of teachers having to hold weapons, if you have individuals like these who are stationed within the school, they have a better chance of neutralizing any sort of threat. So, we don't need to have teachers having weapons when we can have people like this who are protecting the school.
I agree with that. I would much rather have someone like this in the school, maybe even two, as opposed to a teacher having a gun who could
Students should only have to worry about one thing: learning when they're in the school. Teachers really should only have to worry about one thing: is teaching their students.
Right.
After that, whatever you need to do to protect society, we should examine. But I'm not willing to just sign off on it, because the bottom line is having metal detectors in schools in today's current climate, it's acceptable and understandable. But bottom line is, we should never have gone to this. We should never have needed to go to this place in the first place. Why the fuck do we have metal detectors in schools in the first place?
I know, we had to. Because it's got to be one way out, one way in now because of this. Because we can't have good gun control and nobody pays attention to mental illness.
Here's the thing, though. I think it speaks a lot more, and that's why I'm so ardent and passionate about this, because I don't think it's the weapons, the firearms, that are the problem. I think it's the mental psyche of society today.
Yes.
We've been so confused as to what's important, what our priorities are, that when it comes to a simple disagreement, people will just end up shooting themselves in a random firearm attack. And you see that in Chicago literally every day.
Well, you know what it is.
We don't hear about that.
Dave, it's here. It's that people get everything. You know what I mean? You're told you're perfect. Here's a medal for everything. You never get told no. And then all of a sudden, little Billy, who got fucking massaged by mommy or daddy wasn't there. There's another problem. Mostly it's mommy at home and daddy ain't nowhere. And mummies have 3 different boyfriends. So little Billy's been caressed by mommy, and there ain't a dad maybe, and he finally has a girl that he likes, and he can't understand rejection. So he loses his fucking mind, and you've got parents who are barely parenting. They're just like at home, like, here's the computer, I'm have fun, I'm out. It's so easy now, and some parents don't even mean to do it. It happens at my house too, and sometimes I'm like, I'm kicking you off, and we're all gonna sit and do something, because the kids, they just go on, they play games, and the parent says, oh, I got a time to breathe, thank God, and they let their kid watch whatever, and then they get told they're good, and then they see at schools if something goes wrong, they complain, they get the whole rule changed, even if it hurts the rest of the class, just so one kid doesn't get bullied or whatever, criticism. And so they get told, yes, you're a winner, you're amazing. And then when Tiffany Jones or Amanda, whatever the fuck, doesn't want to go out with you, they don't know what to do and they freak out. And there's no one at home to say, shut the fuck up, Billy.
Yeah.
So they just go off on their own, and then they grab a gun, and parents aren't putting their guns away the right way, and then they can go out and get a gun anyway if they really want to anyhow. And it becomes a problem. Dude, this Florida shooting, assuming the Florida shooting was real and everything was the way it was said, and there was no whatever the fuck in anybody interfering in it, and this guy got these guns like he did, which it seems like that's what happened. This was the most avoidable shooting ever. The cops are called 30 times on this guy. He had a mental issue already, and he's sitting there buying guns after guns. And
you see the same thing with the previous Florida shooting, I believe, with Nicholas Cruz. And it's funny that people would claim, oh, well, we need to change the laws so that people over 18 can only purchase a firearm. Well, if you take a look at the stats, that you see that most of the recent mass shooters in the last 12 years have all been over 21. So don't give me this argument that Walmart can't sell a .22 rifle to a 14-year-old who just wants to shoot on a target. Doesn't care about shooting squirrels or rabbits. He just wants to shoot on a target. He has no intention to harm anyone, but target shooting, hand-eye coordination
You're
works very well. It doesn't need power like a video game. Some people are out in the country and, you know, they want to have some fun. Don't equate that person with somebody who's been on pharmaceutical drugs to keep them in check, you know, has like 30 plus warnings to the FBI. The school knows that they're a threat.
Yeah.
And they let them go back.
Don't you blame the school?
It's not a firearm issue. This is a mental health issue.
I blame the school. I blame the cops. I blame the FBI. I blame all those people as well. Maybe more, definitely more than the actual gun. And I do blame the law because
blame the shooter. The gun has nothing to do with it. Blame the shooter and blame their mental health.
The gun.
Then
the gun
blame
checks
all the authorities that ignored all the fucking warnings that they were given for months on end because people knew that this person was a fucking psycho.
But if they checked,
as we're today's shooting,
but
everyone
they should have
is
checked
saying,
him. They should have checked. Yeah. They should have checked this shooter, and if they did, and they had proper mental checks for guns, it's not about gun control. It's about mental illness control. If they had controlled someone who clearly couldn't have a gun,
Joe, they already know this. They got the warnings. They chose to ignore them. What does this mean?
It's like 9/11.
Reaction solution. They know the problem. They allow the reaction, and then they've got the solution ready to go. Yeah. Ban guns, despite the fact that this has nothing to do with guns. It's a mental health issue.
But Dave, don't you think that if they had better mental health laws for buying a gun, then this guy wouldn't have got a gun?
They already do. That's the thing. They've got all these rules. There's no
but no, he bought a gun. He bought a gun.
Loop.
He bought a gun.
But that's the thing, though. All these individuals, like, okay, you're talking about all these rules. Well, 18, like being over 18 is one of those rules.
I don't like the age rule.
You have to be over 18.
The age rule doesn't matter. That they changed that doesn't matter because a 24-year-old.
They've got background checks. They've got mental health checks.
Then how do you get a gun?
These things already in place.
How do you get a gun then?
That's the bigger question that people need to question themselves. Because quite honestly, it's much easier for someone who wants to push a narrative, again, problem, reaction, solution, to provide a gun to a mental case patsy and say, here's your gun. Go use it on the people that hated you in high school. That person goes and shoots out the high school, and then that person says, hey, now we need more stiffer gun laws. Again, it's a matter. It's the whole purpose really is to push more gun control.
But why?
That really is, and it might sound a little odd,
but it doesn't make sense. The guy was a mental patient. He got a gun. Why wouldn't he walk in and they say, "Oh, we've got these. You're on this level."
The FBI, with Nicholas Cruz, for example, the FBI had been warned multiple times. They acknowledged that they accepted these communiques, and they chose to do nothing. They're aware of this situation, but they're letting it happen. This is another way of defining what's called a false flag. False flags are really ambiguous. That's an ambiguous term. But basically, to allow a situation to happen, even if the culprit is somebody that actually is convinced of their own mission, that is a false flag. And in this situation, they knew about Nicholas Cruz. They let it happen so that they can now come out and say, we need more gun control.
Right.
That is the whole purpose of this situation.
I always thought that with 9/11, that was my always thing with 9/11, was that we knew that they were going to do something, and we just kind of let them do it.
Exactly. But what did that let us do? That let us go into the Middle East and say, this war is going to pay for itself with the oil. I mean, it's exactly that. It's just an excuse for aggressive takeover.
I get that, but moving away from the reason why they let Cruz get these weapons and things like that. But what people want, what I want, is when you get the cops called 30 times on you and you spend time in a mental facility, and at school you can't bring a backpack in, you should be evaluated to where there's something on your record.
When they banned him from carrying a backpack onto campus, by that point he should have been arrested because they'd already found blades on him and he'd already been threatening to cut people and stuff. By that point, and the school had warned the FBI, he should have been taken in for questioning and probably held indefinitely.
But right there, why can't that go on his record? Right there. Now he goes in a gun shop and they're like, "Oh, sorry, you're on the list.
But
you can't
it went on his record. The thing is, in the end, it was all forwarded to the ministry. Well, not the ministry. That's in Canada. The department responsible for it. What's the department? The FBI. What did they choose to do? Nothing.
Right.
It all falls on them.
But that's why I want laws about
with HIPAA laws
like
today. That's the big problem. This is what I was getting at before. You know, the shooter today, everyone's like, oh my God, whenever snow was out, he would shovel, their neighbor said. I'm just totally floored it was him. I can't believe it. I'm shaken up. You know, oh, he was so nice. When it came to the kid in Florida, you know, Cruz here, they're like, oh, I knew it was him. When I saw him after the fact, I even made a joke saying, oh, I'm surprised you weren't the shooter when they were walking out of the building. Excuse me, with him.
I don't know about her story anyway, by the way.
I know, but the point is people, you know, immediately, you know, unanimously said, oh, I can see him being the shooter. That's a huge problem that he was even allowed to buy guns. But one of the big issues that people ignore is the HIPAA laws that protect you from, you know, doctor-patient confidentiality and all these things. The doctor can't even say that you have this person as a patient. Never mind send in a report that says, oh no, I don't find them suitable to be gun owners, or, you know, they're doing harm to themselves.
Well, because
I mean,
we would all complain then. I mean, quite honestly, me, you, and Dave probably would all complain then that our rights are kind of they're prying into our lives by divulging that information. But they've already proved that they'll do that with electronically.
Exactly. So there has to be a happy medium here. They have to figure out a way that if someone is a threat or not mentally sound, they need to be flagged. They can't own a gun. Sorry, your rights aren't, you know.
But that's what I want. That's what I'm saying to Dave, is that's what I want now. I want, if you are on this sort of list where you're this way, you can't buy a gun legally anymore. Because you walk in, you show them your ID, and they say, nope, you're on a list, you're unable to own a firearm, or you can have a shotgun or something like that. But that's it. And then if you do that, then you have gun control for mentally ill people.
No, but hold on. We've got to be honest, though, is because that's a slippery slope, because who defines mental illness? Now, granted, somebody might have a mental illness, but who's to say that they... you know, that they can't rectify themselves or potentially, you know, get better and so forth. So
they go again for testing and get themselves
exactly. But that's the thing, though. I'm addressing more Joe's comment about like a permanent sort of ban. I would think that more so, because that's the thing, though. Here in Canada, and you know, fuck you to anyone who thinks that I don't know about American law and history and such, because.
By the way, Dave, real quick, I want to slip in this. Mental health in America right now, there's a lot of immature people. One of the reasons we're having clashes is because we're having clashes with people who are civilized and people who are fairly smart, and there's a whole bunch of fucking wacko dingleberries running around more than ever right now.
Believing, you know,
well,
nutcases.
Not even that, but just I mean, people that are disassociated from life.
Let's talk about how you have your Second Amendment, and this states that basically that nobody can infringe on your ability to bear arms. Okay, now that can be interpreted different ways, but essentially, when people say, "Oh, well, it didn't mean, you know, like heavy weapons," well, they don't understand that people had like cannons back in those days, and they used them. So, in my opinion, the Second Amendment is very important to protect. Now, it's true. The points that you guys are bringing up are true, that those with mental health issues should be, I'm not going to say disallowed, but basically any involvement with them and firearms is a very important issue, because not only do we need to decide the safety of the greater good, but we also have to consider, well, maybe this person's going to get better. Maybe our definition of what is insane is not appropriate. So I don't necessarily say they should permanently be disallowed from owning firearms, because in the end, the Second Amendment, in my opinion, and the impression of many other people, isn't about like, oh, I should be able to shoot anybody that comes on my property. It's if the government goes sour and they want to kill us, I should be able to defend myself. That really is the end point of the Second Amendment, is to defend yourself against a tyrannical government. But it is important that the greater good be sort of represented and taken care of. But I don't want to go so far as to be a communist and say, you know, the greater good is more important than anything else. There has to be a balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I don't know if you guys heard about this, but on a complete side note, and I do agree with you, Dave, there has to be a balance. You know, you can't be on the list forever if you're able to, you know, rehabilitate yourself and the same way that they give prisoners a chance to rehabilitate. But I want to take the conversation a little bit elsewhere really quick. Today, a Florida judge set bond Tuesday for $500,000, $500,000 for Zachary Cruz, the younger brother of the shooter in Florida, for a misdemeanor trespassing charge. $500,000 for a trespassing charge. Misdemeanor, not even a felony crime. Now, what had happened was apparently he was skateboarding Monday, and he acknowledged to deputies that he visited the Stoneman Douglas High School, and, this is apparently not allowed. He was considered to be trespassing. Typically, the fine for this is $25. The judge went to $500,000 with a bond and ordered the brother to wear an ankle monitor. He was also instructed to have no contact with anyone from the school, students or staff alike, and to stay at least a mile away from the school and have no contact with his brother. Jesus. What the hell? I mean, I understand his brother was the one that shot up the school, and even if you want to say allegedly.
But $500,000 bond, raises a red flag for me because
he was skateboarding near the school, visiting friends.
Nothing in this situation adds up.
He was caught skateboarding at Parkland School, and now the gunman's brother is held on $500,000 bond and monitored with house arrest, ankle bracelet. He's to stay a mile away, like I said. And typically, this is a $25 misdemeanor trespass charge. And they're allowed to search his home on a regular basis, the judge ruled. Deputies will be allowed to search Cruz's home in Lantana for guns and other items, the judge ruled, adding that the teen must submit to a psychological evaluation as well. All because he was skateboarding near the school and visiting friends. And his brother did something awful.
This is where it gets scary, where it seems like we're, like in some situations, I think we're over-policing things, but in other situations, we're completely, under-policing things. We're ignoring stuff that's obvious, just like the FBI being contacted about Cruz and being told over and over again about this guy, just like that. It's just like the bridge collapse in Florida. The engineer calls, hey, there's a problem.
Well, that's the problem. Political correctness will be the death of us all, because you've got the bridge collapse where it was an all-female construction crew that handled that. You had the San Bernardino attacks where people had mentioned, I think something's going on, and they were told, no, you're racist because these two people are brown skin and they're from the Middle East, so you shouldn't say these sorts of things. And political correctness has basically created this sort of environment and atmosphere where people don't want to speak out about what they see, despite the fact that it's clear that there are certain groups that are primarily involved with these things.
Well, I mean, guys, we could probably talk forever. We should probably get out of here. I got to go unpack the kids. Dave's been here way longer than he was going to be. And we're going to get out of here, guys, unless anybody else has anything to say, but I'm sure we'll maybe do this again. I like talking to you guys. We talked about goddamn everything that happened the last 2 months. Well, there's probably a whole lot more, but we're going to get out of here. Hope you guys sub to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Dave, anything else you want to say?
Stay devious.
Jake?
I agree.
I should let Dave finish because that was way cooler. All right, bye, guys. Thanks for listening. Sub and stay tuned for more.